Hi everyone, Christina Werner here. Welcome to another video for assignmentsstamp.com. Today I'm going to be working with the Stamptember stamp and stencil from Tim Holtz. This is a set with these cling stamps, very Halloween themed, with a star swirl stencil. I'm not sure what the name of the stencil is, but I do know they come packaged together, and I'm going to be using them both on today's card. Starting out by stamping the dragon image in some intense black ink from Simon, stamping onto some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock. This is a Copic-friendly cardstock. It works really great with alcohol markers. And since I'm going to be coloring the dragon with Copics, I decided to use that paper and also some Copic-friendly ink. I wanted a really dark stamping, and so I did end up stamping the image twice. Now, you'll want to note that when you stamp the images twice, sometimes the ink can stay wet a little bit longer than you might think. So eventually I will use a heat tool to speed along the drying process so that I can color this image right away. While I have the stamp in my MISTI stamp positioning tool, I masked off just a little bit of that dragon image so I could ink up the words, and the words only, in Versamark ink. I then prepped some black cardstock and stamped that greeting down onto the black cardstock. Sprinkled on some alabaster embossing powder from Burtis Monroe, and then I hit that with a heat tool until it was smooth and melted. This is going to give me a greeting that I can pop up off the top surface of my card. So I did, like I mentioned, I hit this with a heat tool to speed along the drying process, just to make sure I wouldn't have any smearing or smudging of the ink when I started coloring with Copics. So I'm going to be doing some very simple Copic coloring today, mostly just two color schemes. I've got a purple and a green, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to have this dragon be purple down on the bottom of his body and then sort of morph into a green for his head. I thought it just looked a little bit funny, a little bit comical. This picture or this image of this dragon is, I think, is kind of funny. Generally not a style of image that I work with. I like things that are a little more clean, but for kind of like a creepy crawly, kind of funny Halloween image, I thought that this would be really fun. So after I colored this with my Copic markers, I took the entire image and did some ink blending onto it. So I put down a Burtis Monroe, it's a slick matte. It's a craft surface you can use for your ink blending and crafting. And I'm taking some distressed oxide inks and blending them onto my picture here. So this is black soot, and I kind of went around all the edges, and then I grabbed wilted violet, and I'm going to bring in just a little bit of purple in some areas, just give it a little bit of a hint of color in some of the areas. I also decided to bring in a green color. I'm using Mowed Lawn. I thought this green would complement the green on the dragon. And I just want to have little hints of color around these edges. I don't want it to be completely just black or gray. So after I had all my blending on here with the black, the purple, and the green, I then grabbed my stencil and I taped down my project to that work surface so it wouldn't move, and then I taped down the stencil as well. For that first ink blending, I used a somewhat larger blender brush from Picket Fence Studios. I've now switched to a smaller one so that I can pick and choose exactly which stars I add the ink to, because I wanted to skip over the dragon. I didn't want to blend over the dragon. So I did an initial blending with just the swirl design from the stencil. Then I lifted it up and realized that I wanted even more stars all over this. I thought it would really go along with the greeting that says spark your own magic, lots and lots of stars. So I moved the swirl design around and kind of filled in some gaps, including the area in the center in between the dragon's head and its body. So I blended in some more ink from the edges just to darken up those corners, make it a little bit more dramatic. And then I decided that all of that ink blending and all the stars were kind of hiding the dragon a little bit. So then I took some white gouache, which is a white opaque paint. It's a little bit like watercolor, but it is opaque. And I painted that around the edge of the dragon. I set that aside to dry for a moment while I trimmed out my greeting. I just used a ruler and a craft knife to cut this greeting out so that it was just perfect. But I really wasn't worried about it being absolutely perfect because this entire card's a little bit quirky, and so it's okay if the greeting is not quite straight. And then decided to add an even thicker white border around the dragon so that it really stands out. At this point, I decided that if I was to make this card again, I would have just done the background separately from the dragon and then trimmed out the dragon with some scissors and popped it up on some dimensional adhesive. I think that would have been an even more effective way to make this card, but at this point, I had already blended around the dragon and it was too late to start over. So I put some adhesive on the back of that Spark Your Own Magic greeting and then put that directly onto my piece here that I've been painting and coloring. I created my card base out of some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 110-pound cardstock, scored that at 5.5 inches. Then I added some polka dots onto the dragon's belly just for a little bit of whimsy. And then I adhered it onto the card base. I used some Tombow Extreme adhesive on the front of the card and then pressed my inked and colored piece right over the top. This is almost done, but I decided it needed a few more little details. So I decided to add a very thin lined border around the outer edge with a number 10 Jelly Roll pen and a ruler. And I just cross-hatched those corners, let them overlap. I also grabbed a clear Wink of Stella glitter brush pen and added this shimmer over the entire dragon. I didn't go over his teeth or his eyes, just the eyelids. And I added quite a bit of shimmer over this entire surface, and I kind of went for the magical vibe I've got going here. So that's the card for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this Halloween type card. Just a reminder that this Tim Holtz limited edition stamp set and stencil is available for a limited time, and once it's sold out, it's sold out. It's not coming back. So if you want to grab this stamp set, now is the time to do it. I kind of anticipate this might sell out rather quickly. Thanks so much for watching today. On screen, I've got 3 more Halloween cards for you to check out. These are from last year. I haven't really done many Halloween cards this year yet. This might in fact be the first. So check out those card videos if you're looking for some Halloween inspiration. Thanks so much for watching. If you loved this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I'll be back with another video very, very soon.